Hello everyone, welcome to weekly digression number 2. For our new subscribers, weekly digressions are unstructured and unscripted videos where I share updates on the content that I'm working on and then sort of have this freeform discussion on one or two topics. Now, to my regular subscribers, I know I am extremely late to this week's digression. I had some intense technical issues. They caused immense delays. I'm still trying to figure things out as we go, so I hope you understand. Anyways, let's get started with some basic housekeeping stuff first. I cleaned my house again. It never seems to end. No, I am working on multiple videos and I also have 2 interviews in the pipeline. One of the videos that I am working on is centered around an epidemic that is creating a generation of addicts. Without revealing too much, this video will be backed by research and data, and it will be an eye-opener. I mean, it certainly opened my eyes when I looked at the data, and it is genuinely doing me a concern, friends. So make sure you are subscribed so you know when it goes live. The second video I am working on is the continuation of our social media series. I will tally up the votes at the end of November, so make sure to vote for your choice by liking the right comment in the Gen social media video. I will leave a link in the description and somewhere up here so you know where to click. The interviews. Let's save the details on the interviews for the next weekly digression. It's not that nothing is set in stone. It's that I'm still working on the scope of these interviews, the kind of questions I'll be asking and kind of like what the niche that I'll be focusing on. So we'll just save it for next week's digression. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about this week's topic, which is a fun one. Well, I guess it's fun. No, it's not fun. It's not really a fun topic. The topic that we're focusing on is wage theft. Now, wage theft has an extremely complex definition that involves time off, overtime, benefits. But what we are going to do in this video is that we are going to focus on general wage theft. This is where your employer extracts free work from you or does not pay you for the time you work outside of the hours stipulated in your contract. So, to give you an example, you are someone that works 9 to 5, which is your standard schedule, Monday to Friday. It could be 9 to 5, could be 8 to 4, could be 7 to 3, the 8 hours that are extremely common. So what happens is that your employer requests that you leave a little late after work or maybe come in early to finish some tasks off, to help finish some tasks off. If your employer does not pay you for this extra time that you work, then they have taken advantage of you and are committing wage theft. Now, another example is if, let's say, which is also extremely common, is your employer hands you a task on Friday at 4:50 p.m. and then says that I need this completed by Monday 9 a.m. The expectation here is that you are going to work over the weekend to finish off this task so you can hand it on 9 a.m. Now, if your employer does not pay you for the time you work on the weekend, then they have taken advantage of you and committed wage theft. Another example is if you're constantly leaving the office past your stipulated hours. So let's say you're supposed to finish at 5 p.m., but now you're working to say 6 p.m., 7 p.m., could be 8 p.m., could be 9 p.m. Or arriving early. Let's say you're supposed to arrive at 9 a.m., but you now start at 8 a.m., 7 a.m., 6 a.m., but are still leaving late. Then your employer is committing wage theft if they do not compensate you for this extra time. And they are taking advantage of you, to be honest. In fact, wage theft is so common in North America that approximately $50 billion annually are stolen from employees. That's $50 billion. To put it into perspective, what $50 billion means, if you take this amount, $50 billion, and you spread it across 1,000 companies, that equates to $50 million in additional revenue per company per year. Let's go even further. Let's take this $50 billion and spread it across 10,000 companies. Do you know what that equates to? $5 million in additional revenue per company per year. And $5 million is not a small sum. For a small to medium-sized company, $5 million in additional revenue looks really good on that quarterly report. and the investors are going to be extremely happy. And these employers that are taking advantage of you, these employers that are making you work extra hours without paying or compensating you for the time, they are getting very clever in getting you to be complicit in wage theft. They dangle the idea of promotions and upward mobility if you show dedication and go above and beyond. And you, me, and the employers know that this dedication, this above and beyond, they mean absolutely nothing in the times we live in. Like absolutely nothing. If that were the case, all the employees that were working for Twitter when Musk took over, they were spending 60, 70 hours weeks working for him, working on the weekends, going above and beyond the dedication. They lost their jobs. Where was the promotion? Where were the raises? Where was the job security? All the layoffs that we have seen in tech this year, all the employees that were laid off, they said that they were working 70-hour weeks, 60-hour weeks. They were working on the weekends. Overtime was expected. Staying late was expected. Where is the job security at the minimum? They didn't get compensated for the extra time. Sure, they might be making tons of money, 400K, 500K, but that's besides the point. It should at least guarantee you job security? No. The point that I am trying to make here is that if you are someone and you say yes to the idea of working overtime, regardless of what it means for you, then you are complicit in perpetuating a system that takes advantage of employees. Working outside of your stipulated hours, working on the weekends, working overtime, it does not guarantee that you will have a job tomorrow. Like it absolutely does not guarantee you'll have a job tomorrow. And we've seen this with all the layoffs, all the people getting fired, the forced return to office. All these people were working 60 to 70 hours and they have no guarantees. None of them received a promotion. None of them received extra wages. The idea that is in our heads that there'll be recognition, financial rewards if we show our bosses that we went above and beyond, the dedication, those 60 to 70-hour weeks, absolute joke. Absolute joke. It's drilled into our skulls so that we accept it. And meanwhile, these guys are making $50 million a year in additional revenue, $5 million if you're dividing it by 10,000 companies. And look, I get it. Some of you have no choice. Right? You have to work extra hours or weekends because, you probably are someone that has student loans or you need to keep the roof over your head. Maybe you recently bought a house, you have a mortgage to pay for. You cannot afford to lose your job because your boss is someone who has said that, listen, if you don't do this, then there is no guarantee of a promotion. There is no guarantee of a raise. There is no guarantee of upward mobility. There is no guarantee that, you will have a job in the next round of layoffs, given how common layoffs are. So you have no choice. And if you're someone that lives in the United States of America, then you probably will lose your health insurance. Maybe you have a health condition that requires that you have health insurance because outside of not having health insurance, you're pretty much dead. So now you're complicit in perpetuating a system that is stealing from employees. You have no choice. No one can blame you for it. And if you're someone that wants to stand up and complain about this system, then you lose your job almost immediately. And if you're someone that is going to stand up in the times we live in and you've lost your job, finding a new one is extremely difficult. Let's just go and look at some of the comments on my other videos where people have been looking for jobs for the last 12 months, 15 months, some of them 3 years. So you have no choice. You become complicit in perpetuating the system. And I don't think it's just the employer's fault. I blame our government, our leaders for not doing enough. They seem to have this sort of idea in their head that the existence of human life, the existence of life is to slave for someone who is on a slightly higher level than you. Like that's what they have in their head. They think that serving the needs of multi-billion-dollar corporation, bending laws and legislations in their favor is far more important than serving the needs of the common person. These are people who think that employers stealing from employees is a non-issue or a trivial issue at best, and the only time it matters, the only time it will ever matter is during the election cycle. You never hear it outside of the election cycle. As soon as the elections happen, suddenly it's like employers are committing wage theft and I am going to stop it. But then the person gets elected into office, silence, cricket sounds everywhere. And what happens when employers get caught or reported? Not a whole lot. They still get to stay in business. They get a small fine, maybe a little slap on the wrist. Maybe one executive, gets fired or suspended without pay for a couple of months. but the company itself becomes better at hiding it. In fact, a lot of companies right now, they do this thing which really boils my blood, man, is in the job descriptions, what they'll do is they'll say things like, if you work for us, you are expected to work late nights, you are expected to work on the weekends, you're expected to be available to us 24/7, 365. And there will not be any additional compensation for this. They make sure that they state that there will be no additional compensation. And they know people are desperate right now for jobs. What are you going to do? You have bills to pay. You need health insurance. You probably have a mortgage. You probably have payments. You probably need the money. You have no choice but to do this. Now you're working 16, 17-hour days, 70-hour weeks. I don't get it. Like, I feel like employers, they seem to think that people don't have a life outside of work, like families that we want to spend time with, books that we want to read, TV shows that we want to watch. Just relax, just take the time off, maybe even learn a new skill. I think they seem to think that human existence is just non-stop work and creating additional value for investors. And what I think all of this is that it's just slavery with extra steps. That meme that they have. I think that's what this is. This is just slavery with extra steps. And our government and our leaders are complicit in perpetuating this system. Every piece of scientific research, every study has shown that lunch breaks, time off, vacations, fixed working hours are absolutely extremely important for our mental and physical well-being. This is a known fact. This is a documented fact. This is a researched fact. Yet, we are forced into working overtime and weekends. And you would think that if these employers, as educated as most of them are, as massive as most of them are, they're capable of reading these pieces of research, you'd think that at least they would compensate us for this? Nah. Above and beyond, right? Promotion on the horizon. I had this discussion with my brother a while back on how employers are treating employees, and this was during the peak layoff season. I think it was during the beginning of the year. Summer is when we had this discussion. And what he said to me, I still remember what he said to me. He said, I don't understand why people blame the employers. They should be blaming the people at the top. Because if you think about it, the people are the one that are taking this decision. It's not like a faceless entity that has taken this decision. It's the people that are in charge. It's the people that are the ones signing off on the promotions, signing off on the layoffs. It's the people that are the ones that are creating these policies that are forcing us to work overtime, that are forcing us to work on the weekends, that are forcing us to spend 70-hour weeks in the office. These guys make 6-7-figure plus salaries. Meanwhile, the rest of us are forced to survive. And he's right. It is people treating other people like this, and we need to hold them accountable. Let's end this discussion here. But before I let you go, I have one last update for you. I'm sure you've noticed this by now. This studio has had an update. I finally found the courage and time to overcome my laziness and procrastination and finally hang up some of the artwork. You'll notice the llama on top of my right shoulder and Darth Vader right behind me. And what I have also done is left some Easter eggs for you. So you'll have to zoom in to see. I think there are around 11 or 12. Or maybe it's a wild goose chase. Who knows these things. You will see this studio continue to evolve in future videos. I have a lot of items coming in, some new furniture coming in, so you'll see some evolution, and I'll continue to add some Easter eggs for you. So make sure you watch the videos, zoom in, and leave your feedback in the comments. Like, let me know if you like it, if you don't like it, if you want to see some changes. Leave your feedback in the comments. What else? I think that's it for today. Make sure you stand up to your employers if they demand free work. There are no guarantees of a promotion. There is no guarantee that you will get a raise. There is no guarantee that you will have a job tomorrow, no matter how much extra time and effort you put in, no matter how above and beyond you go, no matter how much dedication you show. They expect payment for their products and services, and they expect payment in full. So should you. I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.